After spending the last month in Rhodes, Greece, we are excited to break down everything we spent.
We're going to cover all of our costs from food to that road trip we went on and everything in between.
As well as a few of the pros and cons that we found while being here for as long as we were.
Okay, now first of all, how did we get here? We got here by ferry. We came from Fethiye, Turkey. Took about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minute ferry ride right into Old Town Rhodes. Very convenient.
Now, another way people come is obviously on a cruise ship, but then the main source that you're going to be coming in on is probably flying. There is an airport located here right next to Rhodes Town. It is maybe a 15-minute drive, so if you're going to catch a taxi and come in, it's pretty convenient. The best time to come to avoid the crowds would really just be avoiding those deep in the summer months. Yeah. Don't come in June, maybe through August. You know, we're here in May.
We're here in May, and we got here in mid-April, and it was nice in mid-April. I'd say right now in May, it's glorious.
Yeah.
Now is the time to be here. In the summertime, it's just going to get way too hot for us Pacific Northwest couple. In the wintertime, it's not too warm either. It's in the mid-50s.
Yeah.
So I think May, September, October, maybe mid-April through would be the best times to be here.
Best time to come, and you're also going to avoid a lot of that cruise ship traffic as well.
Now, how do we get around? Well, Carrie and I walk. We rented a car, which was fantastic. We had a great day renting a car. Very easy. We answer all those questions on how you rent a car in our last video. You can take a bus. Yeah, there's city buses here as well. We didn't use those because, you know, we're staying probably about a mile outside of the city center, but for us, that's very walkable. So we've just really walked everywhere we wanted to go. But if you do need to get to a beach and you do need to walk, you do need to get transportation, they've got taxi cabs. They've got everything you would expect in a major city. Yeah, and just a little note, you can use your Uber app to order a taxi. It's not going to tell you what the pricing is, but they are going to let you order the taxi on there. There aren't Ubers here that you can actually get an Uber though. You can also rent bikes. You can get the scooters. They've got it all. Plenty of way to get around. How long do you need to visit Rhodes? I would say, you know, honestly about a week would probably be sufficient. I would say a week would be enough, yeah. Like we said, we were here a month, but we slow travel, so a month is what we do in each location, but we certainly didn't need a month here. It is a very small island. You know, outside of the old town or going to the beach, there wasn't a whole lot for us maybe to go see and do after that initial excitement factor. Right, no, we had a great first week. We did do a road trip and we went and saw some sights. I'm ready to go. Yeah, we're ready to move on. Right now we are underneath an airport apparently, but we're right outside of Old Town. It's a really cool area right here. It's a big old town. We love the old town, but how many times can you really come in a month? Walk through it, and walk through it. Yeah. So I'd say a week is sufficient. A week is if you have a week that you want to spend, but honestly, if say you're just cruising around and you don't mind hopping to other places, and you just want to really kind of see the main area of Old Town here, you can have 2 days in Rhodes and you're good to go. If you want to put more time into it and go on some of those day trips, you're going to want that week. I will say, if you're coming in on a cruise, the cruise ships land right across the street from Old Town. So if you've only got a few hours, you can see it all. Yeah, you can't get much easier than that. Okay, now if you do have more than a few hours or a couple days, where do you want to go? What are the top sites to see? The #1 place you have to go to is Lindos. Yeah, that's an absolutely beautiful, picturesque little town. Reminded us a lot of Santorini. Even if you are just coming in on the day, say on a cruise ship, Lindos is probably one of those options for an excursion. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I would say that it's probably a must-do if you are coming. Now, the other places you want to see, obviously, is Old Town, and also there's Newtown. And Newtown has a little bit more modern shopping, cafes, restaurants, bars, and that is also where Ellie Beach is located, which is the really kind of prime beach that everybody wants to go to when they're here. Yeah, now, and back to Lindos, because it's my favorite. They've got a great beach too, so if you do decide to go to Lindos for the day, take your swim trunks, because I didn't bring mine. And I wish I had. Now, another day trip that you can choose to do while you're here, and we didn't do, unfortunately, because of the wind. They're just, every time we're going to plan on doing it, the wind was too high, and that is to go over to Simi Island. You take a ferry over. It's about an hour ferry ride. It kind of ranged in price by season, so you'll have to check into that, but also looks like a really cute little town. Yeah, we actually knew some people that came from there, and they were the last boat out that particular day. because of the wind.
Well, and that I would add is the concern of the wind. It's not that we're worried about going over in the boat in wind. They actually cancel the ferry, so we were concerned that we could get over there in the morning and be left there for the overnight.
And not get home.
Yeah. Now, one question we always ask ourselves when we were coming into a new location is, where should we stay? Now, like we mentioned, we stayed just a little bit outside of town, but if you're coming in for just a couple days, I would say pick to stay right in Old Town area. There were a lot of just quaint little bed and breakfast style or little boutique-y hotels.
So would I. I mean, that'd be my first choice. Now, there is also Newtown.
There's Newtown, and Newtown had a little bit more modern hotels. Nothing that was maybe you're used to seeing. None of those name brand lines that we're used to seeing so much. Maybe a little bit of that, but you had also close access to the beaches over there. So that would be another option as well.
And there's also another option, a third option. You could stay down the beach a ways, about 2-3 miles out of Old Town, where all the resorts are out, all the all-inclusive resorts with the big beach. That's also a third option, which doesn't sound like too bad of an option to me either.
No, I was looking at prices and it wasn't bad. It would have been nice just to go and spend a couple nights at a all-inclusive. Now, actually, there is a fourth option, and that would be Lindos. And a lot of people really rave about Lindos and staying there. For us, it was a little bit far away. It takes you about an hour and a half on the bus or even by car to get there. And it's a small little town, so your availability of places to stay was quite limited, because we originally did look at it because it was recommended.
Well, for us, for a month, I don't think it would have worked. Right now, we're getting kind of bored being here for a month. We would have been bored, I think.
Yeah, it is a small area, but as far as if you want that really picturesque place, as far as the white buildings on the cliffside and
Yeah, it's very picturesque.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and this place isn't too bad either. And I'm going to say right now, we're going to be in the shade the rest of this video.
Now, after spending a month here, we did come up with some pros and cons of the area. This is kind of that area. We personally like to know the pros and the cons. Some people kind of take it as us on kind of dissing on a place. We're not doing that at all. We're really just trying to make you aware, so when you come, of the things to be expecting, I guess.
Right. And as far as the cons go, we'll get to them. They're not that big of a deal, so don't worry too much about the cons.
They're not.
Let's do the positive first. The biggest positive is the Old Town itself. It's very big. It's large.
It's very expansive.
Yeah, a lot of shopping.
Yeah, and like we said, being here a month, we walked into Old Town a lot of times just as something to go do.
Right.
And there were areas we'd walk and we're like, have we even been on this street yet?
Yeah.
So when we say it's large, it's a very large Old Town.
Now, I don't pay attention all the time, so I might have walked down the same street 3 or 4 times and not noticed something. But for me, it was something new almost every time. So that was a big positive for us. The second thing is there are beaches right outside of Old Town that you can kind of chill out at. We didn't do too much of that, but if we wanted to, we would have.
I think if we came a little bit later in the year, we probably would have, because when we would go down there, it is warm, but you get near the water and then it kind of chills down a little bit. So now the water would be another pro. That's not even on our list, but I will say that it's absolutely gorgeous Mediterranean water. We just loved it. Now, another big pro out of the Greek islands that you can choose to go to, Rhodes is one of the less expensive to come to. It's going to cost you less for your housing. It's going to cost you less for just a lot of the different things that you're going to be doing. So I think for a lot of people who want to experience a Greek island, this might be a better option if you're trying to look to save a little bit of money.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're going to Crete here next week, and we're going to spend quite a bit more on accommodations. So
now, the other plus is the proximity to some of the day trips, as far as if you are on Rhodes and say you haven't gone to Turkey, but you'd like to just go experience Turkey for the day, we highly recommend. So Marmaris is very close, and then also where we came from was Fethiye, and I would highly recommend going to Fethiye and checking it out if you do have the time. So those are like really quick 2-hour ferry ride to get there, and so kind of an easy thing to do.
It's kind of centrally located on this end of Greece, if that makes sense.
Now, another positive is the language. Now, we did not run into any situation where we felt like it was a struggle to communicate. English is very widely spoken. Even when we got out to some of the smaller parts of the island, we're not right in Old Town, which you kind of expect sometimes to have that just because of the cruise port. Yeah,
we went to some desolate towns, went to some restaurants. English was spoken very well. Now, we usually get a lot of comments about this one as well. People tell us, learn the language. Well, when you're in a different country every other month, it's hard to learn every language of the world. It's hard enough for me to learn one language. I mess up the English language a lot. So people do want to know if their English is going to be understood, and here in Greece it most definitely is.
It is. Now the final pro that I think was a really nice big one for us, and probably one of the reasons we did choose to rent a car, was that you did not need an international driver's license, and also they drive on the same side of the road that we're used to at least.
Right.
And so it just makes it a lot more enjoyable, and I don't know, you don't have as many worries.
You just don't stress. I know people that have rented cars in the UK and Ireland, and all the more power to them. I don't want to do that. I'm going to forget. The one time I forget, it's going to be the last thing I forget.
That might be it.
Could be it for me. So yeah, that was a big deciding factor on renting the car, was just the ease, and it was stress-free.
Right, and it was very affordable, and we'll get into that here just in a little bit on when we break down the cost, but that was probably also a major deciding factor, is the affordability factor of renting a car here.
Okay, it's time for the cons.
It's that time.
Now this is where we get most of our negative comments, is when it comes to cons. No matter where we're at, there's cons everywhere. The biggest con I would say here in Rhodes is the tourism. Now, I get it. We're tourists. We know it. We're a part of it. But if you want to go somewhere that's not packed with tourists, especially in the summertime, this may not be your place.
Right. Now, another major con would be the wind. Now, this is going to be for all Greek islands pretty much. We know that Santorini was actually way worse when we were there, but the wind is kind of a factor you're going to deal with every single day. I'm personally not a fan of the wind unless I'm in a house and enjoying it from a couch and looking out a window at it.
Even then you don't like it.
No, I actually do. I love the wind. I love a good storm, but I don't enjoy being out walking in it and constantly having wind blowing on you. So,
well, I'm going to say it. The biggest con is probably, for me anyway, it's a big one. It's you can't flush your toilet paper. You got to throw it away.
It's a fact, people.
You got to throw it away, and then after you throw it away, you've got to take it down to the street and throw it away down there as well.
Yeah.
So it's just something that.
And that, once again, is
nobody talks about it.
Yeah. They need to talk about it though, because I mean, we dealt with it. It's all of the Greek islands, and we get it. It's just a whole sewage issue thing being on the island.
Yeah,
so we absolutely
understand. When we were in Santorini, I just thought it was weird when they first told me. I was like, what? Wait.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't really believe it at first, and then but they add on an extra charge if you clog up their toilet.
I thought Carrie was pranking me at first, and then I realized the prank would be on her, not on me. So
now another con, and we have noticed this all around the island. It's not just like where we're staying. Rhodes is loud. It is just a loud town. The motorcycles and scooters, they are, well, really more motorcycles. Yeah. They do not have like any level of, they can't have a noise to a certain point. And so in the middle of the night, the noise from them is just really...
it's I think on our street as well, it's a one-way street. And I think when people hit one end of it, they know nobody's coming at them. So they gas it. I guess. I don't know.
But pretty much all over when we are walking and just exploring, and it is just loud. Now the final con, and this is a bigger one for us just because of what we do, the Wi-Fi here and the cell service is pretty spotty. Now it worked okay, but even with my cell plan that I have, I still was losing service here and there. But with the Wi-Fi in our place, it was in and out. So I just think it's kind of an island-wide thing. So just something to be aware of as well.
I wouldn't say that's bigger than the toilet paper issue, but it is an issue.
That scores number one.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've gotten to the area that probably everybody's been waiting for, and that is, what did it cost us to be here for a month in this amazing town, or this amazing island in Greece? So our cost for accommodations is the one area that we always kind of cover first, because that's our highest cost. That's the one that always kind of kicks us in the gut. So here we stayed in a place, like we said, we were about a mile out of Old Town. We had a nice place. It was a 2-bedroom, smaller than what we're probably normally used to as far as living accommodations. And we don't have anything high end that we're looking for, but we kind of expected that coming to Greece. And so we paid $1,525 for the month.
Yeah, and now $1,525 for the month sounds like a lot. For us, it is a lot. And for what we got, it was a lot. It had 2 bedrooms, it had windows in them, it had a balcony. But there was no windows in the living room itself, so it was dark. The kitchen wasn't that great. It worked. but it wasn't great.
I called it our bachelor pad. So
It was
I think
our
that was the
bachelor
best.
pad, yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Very
was the
much
best
so.
way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, and that also included, we did have to pay for power, and so that includes that in there as well.
Right.
So, you know, I think that, like I said, you do expect this when you're coming to Greece to pay a little bit more money for your accommodations, but it was, I guess, in a way a little bit disappointing of what we got for that amount of money, considering where we had just come from and how much we got in that country. So,
Right.
yeah.
You know, maybe you got to up your budget. Maybe we got to up our budget. We'll talk about that later. Okay, groceries.
Yes.
Now, groceries, even though our kitchen wasn't that great, we did do a lot of grocery shopping.
Yes.
The grocery stores were very adequate. We found some things priced surprisingly high, and other things randomly were very affordable.
Yeah.
We really couldn't figure out why some things were more expensive than others, but it's just the way it is. For all of our groceries for the month, for each of us, we spent $430
Right.
total.
Yeah, and I would add on to the grocery part of it, we found that the groceries here were actually probably one of the most expensive places we have been for groceries. And
Yes.
this includes going to Santorini, where we included ahead of time thinking we were going to have to pay so much more for groceries.
Right.
And Santorini had incredibly affordable groceries. Here on Rhodes, we did not find that. So that was a little disappointing, but totally doable. And like Brian said, the grocery stores are totally adequate. So you're going to find everything that you're looking for. Okay, and the next area is entertainment costs. Now for us, entertainment costs includes anything as far as eating out, going in, having a drink out, which is kind of a lot of our entertainment, and then any sites that we go in and see.
Right.
For this month, we spent a total of $268. You know, that included our day trip as far as we went into a couple different sites, and then, you know, we kind of felt that we ate out quite a bit and
Yeah.
we drank out. And I would add that when we just mentioned about grocery stores and the costs in the grocery stores, we found that the cost of eating out here was way more affordable than I was anticipating.
Right. Now, we could have spent more, now that I come to think about it. I was getting some beers down at the local corner market, and I was being charged half price. Now, I didn't know this, or I would have obviously said something, but one day I went in, and the gentleman that I usually deal with wasn't there. It was, I think, his mom, and she charged me $2.20 for a 16-ounce can of beer. And I didn't say anything, obviously, but then I came to find out later that she was right and he was wrong.
Yeah.
And then
So you got a couple bargain
I got a
deals.
couple bargain deals, so
Yeah.
it did balance out.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't that bad.
Well, and the other, no, that's not bad. And then the other thing is that you have, one of our kind of go-to dishes here was the gyro, right? We just we got the savaki
Yep.
in the wrap.
Right.
And an average price of that was under $3, you know, and that was a full meal for us. So to be able to go out and have something that was actually, we loved them. They were really, really good.
Yeah.
For $3 was super affordable. So I would say that our budget, we thought it was going to be higher because we were doing that a lot more, but when you're only spending $3 at a time on something, it doesn't add up as fast as you
We
think.
didn't feel like we missed out on anything. Now, transportation is another big cost. We spent $174 in total on the island. That includes getting here on the ferry from Fedia. It includes that rental car that we rented and toured around. It includes the gas, is that right?
Includes the gas as well,
So
yes.
that is something that we also found very affordable. And if you've never rented a car in Greece, or for that matter anywhere, you got to do it if you're traveling. It's to us, it kind of changed our minds a little
It
bit.
did change our minds. I mean, part of those things that we said as pros earlier,
Yeah.
as far as same side of the road, no international driver's license,
Right.
there were major reasons why we did it. But it definitely opened our eyes to being able to explore a lot more of the island. And then I would also add the affordability factor because it was
yeah.
affordable to do. Some places you go, it's not like that. Okay, our next area is miscellaneous costs. Now, our miscellaneous costs, we did buy a couple things. These are just kind of extra things that we end up buying. Brian got a bucket hat.
Yes.
And then I got a necklace here. That is one of the things that I do like to get when I'm traveling because we are carry-on only, so we cannot carry a whole lot of things with us, and jewelry is the one thing that I can take with me. And so our total cost for both of those items was $47,
That
so
bucket
not much.
hat, that bucket hat was worth it too.
It was worth it.
Yes.
His head is protected
I've gotten
now.
a couple Gilligan comments, but you know what? If it saves my head from getting burned and skin cancer, then I'm gonna wear a bucket
100%
hat.
worth it.
Yeah. Okay, phone data. As many of you might know, we do not do a plan from the United States or from whatever country we come from because that's just way too much money. We tend to get SIM cards, Carrie has her eSIM that she's using now because her phone accepts it and mine doesn't. But we spent a total of $13 this month on our phone data plan, primarily because I cheaped out and decided not to get a SIM card this month.
Right. I mean, we had coverage on my phone, so we really did not need to have another phone with coverage, and so it worked out fine. So 13 for the month was pretty good.
Yeah, I did pay her $6.50 to make up the difference.
No, he'll buy me a beer later.
Okay.
Now our next big expense is our health insurance, and I do SafetyWing, and then Brian just has a global plan, and we pay $259 a month for both of us, which we think is pretty affordable to just kind of make sure we're taken care of.
Yeah, make sure we're taken care of. That global plan I'm on does cover me in the United States for a short period of time while I'm home, and it also varies in price from person to person, how old you are. All those things are included, what my deductible is. So, you know, to give an exact price on what I pay is going to vary greatly between person and person.
Exactly.
So, you know, do your own research and look into, and the global plan I'm on, there's several different global plans you can choose from. And from my research, they're all about the same.
They're very similar, and like Brian was saying, that they can vary so much in price. So I pay, I believe it's $105 a month for my plan through SafetyWing, but that's because of my age. Now, if I was younger than 30, which would be wonderful, but that would cost me then like $40. So once again, he doesn't know. Anyway, so I mean, that's going to vary all over the board. So us giving you like, or you going there and then saying that maybe you're not going to get the same quote as us, that's why. Right,
so I pay $148 a month for the plan I'm on. Okay, now we do have some necessities that we have to have, one of which is Netflix. We have our Netflix we like to watch. We've got our certain shows we like to watch.
Yeah.
There's one we're watching right now. It's gotten really weird, so we're not sure which direction it's going to go.
Yeah.
We won't mention which one it is. But we also, because of that, and we enjoy doing that so much, we have our NordVPN. Now we have to have our NordVPN in order to get our channels that we normally watch off of Netflix.
Right.
Those shows.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're going to be able to still use, you say your Fire Stick and watch certain shows on Netflix. But if you don't have a VPN where you can set the location to your home country, then you are not going to be able to see the shows that you're used to seeing. And
you'll see shows that you don't normally get to see, which could be fun to do.
It can be fun.
But it's all
a lot of it is going to be subtitled
and voiceover. Voiceover is what I'm trying to think of.
Which we have a hard time with those.
I would rather read the subtitles than do the voiceover thing.
Yeah, so for us, both of those things are an absolute necessity. Okay, so what did the entire month end up costing us? The grand total came to $2,737, which was lower than what I anticipated it was going to be, just because we did do the day trip, we rented the car, we felt like we ate out a lot, we enjoyed our drinks out.
We spent a little more on accommodations than we normally do as well, so that's $1,368 each. So if you're a solo traveler, it would be in that ballpark. Now, of course, you're going to pay more for accommodations than we paid individually, but it gives you a pretty good idea.
Right. Well, we hope that this video was helpful to you and interesting, and just kind of answer some of those questions you might have if you are going to be traveling to Rhodes. Now, we have other videos that we did on Rhodes if you are interested. Like we mentioned, we did the day trip, which you're going to be able to see all the places to go see on the island, including Lindos, which ranked really high for us. And then also we did, what was our first video was just the Old Town area.
Just the Old Town area, yeah. You know, and if you really want to go back and watch some of our old videos, we were in Santorini 2 years ago, so you can watch those videos and maybe let us know if we've gotten any better along the way at all. You know?
Those are in our Greece playlist, so you can find them pretty easily. All right, well, we will catch you next time. Cheers.
I'm really glad she finished that up because I got a big something crawling up my leg right now. I got to...